It's funny how the microphones come on, everybody gets quiet.
Yeah.
It's like supper time, everybody's eating. Okay. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize that we're on the traditional territory of the Upper Smokeman Indian Band. Call the meeting to order. Number 2.1, we have a recommendation that council adopt the August 6, 2019 regular meeting of council agenda.
Also move.
Councillor Gould, seconder. Councillor McLean, any additions? All in favor? So moved. Thank you. Section 3.1, recommendation that the minutes of the July 2nd, 2019 regular meeting of council be adopted. Councillor Willis, seconder. Councillor Elliott, any errors or omissions? All in favor? So moved. Thank you. Section 4, petitions and delegations, we have none. Section 5, unfinished business, we have none. And Section 6, staff reports.
I have to declare conflict and leave.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Section 6.1, industrial park fencing, we have a recommendation that council award the erection of a chain link fence along the northerly boundary of the industrial park to Right Way Fencing Incorporated in the amount of $21,584.66 plus GST.
So moved.
It's Councillor McLean, seconder. Councillor Elliott, any questions?
How old is this? Goes back quite a ways, doesn't it? I can remember faintly
Yeah?
fooling around with this like 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, it goes back to about then,
So
if not longer.
we're kind of being forced into this or we're finally getting around to it because it opens up our ability to access more
It's
ALR land.
completing the deal that we had with the ALR in the first place, so, yeah.
Perfect.
Any further questions? All in favor? So moved. Thank you. Can somebody go get Councillor Gould? We'll pause for a brief recess. Welcome back. Section 6.2, the 2018 annual report, recommendation that the 2018 annual report for the Town of Princeton be approved.
Also move.
This is Councillor Gould, seconder. Councillor Willis, any questions? No? Thank you. Okay, all in favor? So moved. I want to thank you for that. Number 7, council reports. Let's start with Councillor Willis.
Well, I had a Chamber of Commerce meeting on the 17th. Went pretty good. There was a few things that came up that they want to do maybe next year, so I got some ideas, and yeah, it sounds all right. And then that was pretty much it. I attended the ball tournament with Councillor Mandy McLean there, and we did the help with the posse fundraising and stuff.
Okay.
And I thought, there's 22 teams, and I thought it brought a lot of money and people into town. I think it was a great time for everybody.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Gould.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 16th of July, I attended a PXA meeting with Councillor Elliott. just keeping updated on their activities. They're a very focused group with a lot of intention to do well up there. I attended on July 23rd a recreation meeting along with Councillor Elliott again and Cody Naples, our recreational cultural director, and we were discussing tennis and pickleball and seeing if we can help with that. Tennis courts are resurfaced this week, which is a really nice thing to see. Yes, I saw pictures, yes. And then I also attended the Tulameen Days Parade with Mr. Mayor. We rode in a police vehicle, and I fittingly had black and white striped shirt on and sat in the back seat.
Star of the show.
Never before, right?
Thanks.
No.
Thank you, Councillor Gould. Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had a busy month, as it turns out. Regular meetings I attended included the PXA with Councillor Gould, Princeton Arts Council, Interagency, the Princeton Museum and Archive Society, and Princeton Posse. There were a couple of additional meetings. I attended the Pickleball Tennis User Groups meeting along with Councillor Gould, and also the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Select Committee with Mr. Mayor. Out of town, I went to a primary care workshop follow-up in Penticton. I attended a youth mural graffiti project in Caramias, and a Community Foundation accessibility workshop also in Caramias. A couple of extra activities I did also was I attended a video promotion subcommittee meeting for the Princeton Healthcare Steering Committee and the Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness. They call themselves HUM. They're seeking to relocate their event possibly into the Similkameen, and I attended a meeting with the mayor, and that's my report.
Thank you. Councillor McLean.
Yes, we had a very busy ball tournament. It was successful in terms of bringing people into town for the weekend. It was packed, and I think everybody it was fairly well behaved, and I think everyone had a great time. Other than that, I had no meetings worth anything to report. What I did want to talk about in my report was a little bit of dismay. I walk down the end of my street and I see two signs at the end of my street saying, "Beware of bears." I'm up at my daughter's house and she's afraid to send her children down to my house, let alone even down to the park, as a result of the bear sightings. The report I was given was the fact that they weren't really fussy about transporting bears out of town because it was a death sentence. As far as I'm concerned, where is this going to stop? We allow deer all over the place, that's fine. Deer are, I suppose, dangerous to a certain extent. Bears are far different. I do not want my record to show that if a bear ever attacks a dog, a cat, or heaven forbid a child or something, and something terrible results, that I didn't at least bring it forward that, as far as I'm concerned, we're not running a zoo here. All we're asking for is a couple of square miles where we don't allow bears or cougars. Is that next? Is that we're going to put up beware cougar signs in our neighborhoods? I'm sorry, and I'm not an animal hater or anything else, but as far as I'm concerned, we have a right to be able to protect ourselves from dangerous animals. And if that involves hauling them away and displacing them, and they come back and we have to haul them away again, and they come back a third time, then I'm sorry what happens. But as far as I'm concerned, I do not want to live in a community where wild, dangerous animals are being put up with around our children. Anyway, that's my report.
Thank you.
Perhaps that would ask for some kind of a report to come from staff if there's some attitude that we're supposed to take in terms of what will be done in the future, or how we view this, how council views it.
May I speak to that, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Thank you.
Little
Thank-
unorthodox, but let's do it.
Thank you, Councillor. Just, it's actually a conservation issue. It's not something that we as council can direct our bylaw officer to take care of. So we have to.
Pardon me?
We can't direct our bylaw officer to take care of a bear, right? So it comes down to conservation.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
So we need to
But we
direct
can
our
direct the
efforts.
bylaw officer
Absolutely.
To talk to the conservation.
Correct.
officer
And we have to
be able
continue to lobby the provincial government to increase our services for conservation services in our community, 100%. We can continue to lobby them as well to look at delegating authorities under the Wildlife Safety Act to our bylaw officer in regards to willfully attracting these dangerous animals into the community. So that's something that we as council could do, continue to lobby the provincial government. And I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, back on track. July 4th, I attended the regional district. July 18th, I attended the regional district. July 23rd, I attended the South Okanagan Smokemean Rural Healthcare Community Coalition. It's a big word. It's a monthly meeting we have in Kermias. It has all of our associates, Princeton, Kermias, Interior Health, BC Ambulance. There's a whole bunch of different organizations involved. And the one thing that came out of that meeting that was interesting is the primary care network work that's being done right now. Princeton, so they're going in waves. So Penticton is just, and Summerland have been lumped into one. Oliver Associates was another one, and then Princeton and Kermias are lumped into the third one. And because of the way some of the funding for the doctor's workload is being allocated, they're putting kind of the brakes on Princeton, Kermias, Oliver, and Assuyas to try to rework the way that they're going to approach the funding so that they can get our doctors here do more work than they do in the city. Because if you're a general practitioner here, you're also the ER doctor and everything else, whereas you can have, so they have a bigger workload here, but they don't get paid under the primary care network pay structure the same way. So they're trying to restructure the way they go to the government to get the funding for the way that this primary care network is going to roll out. So things have been put on hold a little bit to try to get the best outcome for our communities rather than just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hope it sticks and see where it lands. So if you hear anything about it, stalling or whatever, it hasn't stalled. It's just there's just some reworking happening so that we can get the best care we can for our communities. So July 26th, I went over to Kelowna and I attended a workshop put on by TODA, and it was about communicating during emergencies like wildfires or flooding. And it wasn't, I was the only politician there. Everybody else were people who worked in the tourism sector. And so when I went, I thought it was going to be about all this, like stuff that we would normally look at, right? Evacuations and that. But what it was when there is a major event in an area, how do you keep business going at the same time? So, you're having flooding in downtown Kelowna, but that doesn't mean Vernon's not open, or that doesn't mean the rest of the Okanagan isn't open for business. And how to communicate that message when you're coming out and saying, we're looking at an evacuation alert for this area, but that doesn't mean we're not open over here. So don't stop coming to the community. It was an interesting workshop. It was well attended, and I'm glad I went to it because it changed my perspective on how we use some of the language we use when we do talk about these emergencies. August 3rd, I attended the parade in Tulameen with Councillor Gould. It was fun. I also attended with Councillor Elliott the HUM meeting, and we had our first Arts, Culture, and Heritage Committee meeting, and we have another one coming up at the end of this month. That is my report. Okay, let's Go on to section 8. We have a recommendation that that items 8.1 to 8.3 be received and filed.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Gould, seconder. Councillor McLean. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you.
Maybe, Mr. Mayor, sorry, could you comment on 8.3? Is the long and short of it that we're
This-
better off?
No, this is what we're with, what we have. It's not,
It's an overnight, right?
oh, it's a 3-day trip. You're not getting back till Wednesday. So you're gonna go up Monday morning, get on a bus, and the Princeton bus doesn't come back and won't be able to pick you up until Wednesday. It's not ideal. It's not what Mayor Bauer or myself want. All of the elected representatives that meet with BC Transit in the Similkameen have made their objections known to BC Transit. We're not happy that the schedule is changing the way it is. We have issues where we have what's the facility in Karamea called? The long care.
Orchard Haven?
Orchard Haven. On Mondays, they catch the bus. The bus comes right up to Orchard Haven. I think there's about 10 residents that then go to Penticton, and it's a major outing for them every Monday. With the new schedule, they won't be getting the bus at Orchard Haven anymore. They'll have to go down to, I think it's the OAP hall. A lot of these people have mobility issues and that, so that trip is gonna be removed. So they're looking at how do we accommodate this on a Wednesday or a Friday. There's a lot of problems with this. Unfortunately, if we're to meet the bus to go to Kelowna, this is the schedule that BC Transit has given us.
Okay, so if you refresh my memory, if you leave Princeton at 9 in the morning,
Oh, you're gonna leave so it leaves Princeton at 7:20 in the morning?
it's a 7, okay. So then, did I not see them stopping in a variety of places in Karamea?
Yeah, so they're gonna stop at
Costin and,
OAP Hall, Mountain View Manor, Hilltop Esso, Costin, Amber Light. That one, I don't know if they pick up their.
That's only by request.
Yeah, it's only by request. And then it's off to Olalla where they pick up somebody there, I think, and that's only by request as well.
okay, so then you would arrive in Penticton at.
So you get in Penticton at 9 o'clock, and I believe the bus leaves at 9:08 or something.
Okay, arriving in Kelowna, say 11 o'clock?
Yeah, they don't have it on here. I think it's, because it goes from there, it goes leaves Cherry Lane, I believe. Cherry Lane goes to Summerland, Peachland, and then into
So
Kelowna.
maybe 1 o'clock.
No, it's about an hour and a half, I think, too.
Okay, so then the person couldn't have an afternoon appointment. Is there no bus coming back the next day?
There is to Penticton, but there's not to Princeton. That's the problem. They said that they're hoping to roll out more more transit opportunities for us in the future, but right now, this is all we're gonna get.
Okay.
So, in the summer, this is gonna cost you, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's $300 a night in Kelowna,
Yeah.
so.
I guess the only thing that I saw there, when you're making, if it was gonna slow the service down, to be stopping in several places in Karamea, that,
These are
for
actually,
heaven forbid, could you not find a taxi or get a short thing to all meet in one place so the bus didn't have to stop?
well, the problem is a lot of the people that are catching a bus are mobility challenged, right? So
Yeah,
they have to be able to accommodate the best they can. The Princeton bus, before it leaves Princeton, actually goes and picks up people at Princeton, where you meet at the community services center, and then they leave from there.
if that isn't the thing that's delaying it,
No, you're
2
gonna.
days, if that isn't the thing.
No, that's
then
not what's-
Then no
no.
problem.
No, it's-
But
it's-
If it was, I would say.
No, it's that the bus comes back to Princeton by 2:30 in the afternoon, where it's back in town by 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
They have to leave Penticton by 12:30, or 1 o'clock, sorry. It leaves Walmart. And they've got it cramped pretty. yeah, some of the drivers have issues with this as well, so this is nowhere perfect.
No.
And
Okay.
we've made transit well aware that we're not
Well,
pleased with this.
even at the accessibility meeting I went to earlier this month, last month in Karamias, there was discussion that there's no taxi service in Karamias.
Oh, right.
And there's no delivery service, and actually this was the discussion around the table may have actually inspired a young entrepreneur to actually start a delivery service such as there is here, right? So, it's amazing the things that are missing at that end of the valley,
Yeah.
which compound this situation.
The Lower Similkameen Band has their own buses, and it costs them around $100,000 a year to run them. It's pretty pricey, so. Okay, any more on that?
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to 9.1. We have a letter from the Princeton Golf Course. We have a recommendation that council approve the request from the Princeton Golf Course Society to expand the RV park to the north of the existing RV park and the adjacent to Darcy Mountain Road, with the condition that a fence be erected along the west side adjacent to the Princeton Lagoons, as well as the proposed location along T-Box 13 and Darcy Mountain Road.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Elliott, seconder.
Second that.
Councillor Willis, any questions? Comments? All in favor? So moved. Okay, number 10.1, zoning bylaw amendment. Recommendation to bylaw number 965, 2019, Town of Princeton zoning amendment bylaw be read first and second time, and that the pursuant to subsection 467 of the Local Government Act, staff give notice of the waiving of the public hearing for zoning amendment bylaw number 965, 2019. Motion to that?
I'll make a motion.
Councillor Gould, seconder. Councillor Willis, any questions? I'm gonna ask staff, just explain why we're waiving the public hearing on that.
Well, this is really just a housekeeping item. There's been a few anomalies that we've found, or our planning department has found. Working with Carrie, they've worked this out and decided that it's not really gonna affect the general public. It's actually gonna be a positive reflection, so.
Okay. Councillor Gould?
Just in section 3, the current reading, in the underlined, it says required front yard, side yard, or backyard. And then in the proposed, it just says any required front yard or side yard setback, no backyard. So is it just an error?
I might turn this over to Carrie for comment.
Section 3, or item 3, and then under current, at the bottom of that paragraph, it's underlined required front yard, side yard, or backyard. And then the next paragraph, proposed, underlined at the bottom, any required front yard or side yard setback, no backyard.
Those are for eaves, right?
Yep.
But it's in the case of a rear yard setback.
Okay.
So in the case of a rear yard setback, the foundation and support of them do not encroach into any required front yard or side yard setback.
Right, and at what the current is, it still says in the case of rear yards, and then it had backyard before.
So consider what the bylaw says.
It might be a typo. Not that it matters to me. But
I will confirm with the planning department that,
Is this the stuff we got back the other day?
no, they sent this to us a while back.
Oh, okay.
But before I put the advertising out, I'll confirm that
Thank
this
you.
is how they want it worded. And if that's the case, then I'll let you guys know as well.
thank you.
Can't help it, it's your OCD.
And if it was right, it would be CDO.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor? So moved. Number 11, new business, there is none. Number 12, agenda item conclusion, motion to close. Recommendation that the meeting be closed to the public for the purpose of considering the acquisition, disposition, and expropriation of land or improvements if the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. Counselor McLean, seconder. Counselor
second.
Gould, all in favor, so moved. Thank you, good night.
Good night.
Good night out there in internet land.